Welcome back to another ASMR video. How you are all doing? I am doing pretty well, okay? I hope you are doing well as well, okay? If you're doing well, that's great, because I am going to share you an utterly terrifying nightmare I had. So, 2 days ago, in the past 2 days ago, I had a really terrible nightmare, okay? And yeah, I rarely get nightmares, but this week, I happen to have one. So have you ever gotten those dreams that you seem to never forget? Especially nightmares. You may have had those dreams where it felt so real, and yet you suddenly wake up after a scary moment. I will share you this nightmare that I had in this video, so let's dive in straight into it. So in the process, I will tap on some objects and rub on different objects that I have for your tingles. Okay, and some hand movements as well. So there will be no jump scares, and I'm going to admit that this is a little bit on the scarier side of things, but at the same time, I'm just trying to give you some relaxation, some tingles or something to make you sleep or something. So this is a chocolate bar package that I kept along. I had the chocolate and I ate it from a long time ago. It was like 75% dark chocolate. 75% dark chocolate, okay. Alright, and it was pretty good, and I happened to keep this, so let's start with this nightmare. So the dream started of me being in a hot place, okay? Somewhere hot, like Florida or Cuba. So it's winter time right now, and it's almost spring in my area, but in the nightmare, I was in a place that is very hot, like in a tropical setting. So somewhere like Florida or Cuba. Okay, so the area I was with, it's so much different than the area that I live right now. So it is like a pretty suburban neighborhood. The houses were pretty small, and they had pastel colors, so like light yellow, light pink, light blue, light green. So like pastel colored houses or something. So it had lots of trees like in between, so it's kind of like a really wooded place but with buildings. So like somewhere in a suburban neighborhood. So it was not like a really rich neighborhood. It's somewhere in between, but not very poor either. So I would say it's like somewhere like working class or something, not a very rich neighborhood. That's what I can kind of describe. I'm not sure if it's an actually a poor or rich neighborhood. It's just what I feel like it is, based on the looks of the place. So again, it is so different, much different than the place I am in right now. Let's change some objects. I'm gonna try to shake this container a bit. So I had like some kind of cake here, but I replaced the contents with gumballs. cotton candy. So, okay, so I started at this particular house. And once again, like the neighborhood, the house was totally different than the house I live right now. Like, it is the house that I have never lived in real life, but in this dream, it was my place. So, like, I find this area familiar in that dream, but in real life, it is different. So, like, as if my mind is already used to that area. I would say the mind of my dream body. Okay. So, I don't know if I was like a kid or an adult, but I was like still relatively young. So, I'll assume that I am as old as today, where I am physically okay for the average people at my age group. So unfortunately, I cannot remember the house in detail, but I remember it had like a fence around it. So it had a fence encircling around it. So I started here, and I happened to decide to take a walk at night. So, like, it is at night. So, not during the day, it was like at night. It was a pretty clear night, I think, so no rain at all. So, I happened to take a night walk. Pretty calm in terms of the weather. So, I don't know how far I walked. Like, I walked, but I don't know how far away from my house I ended up with. So, and that's where the nightmare truly begins. So that's where it starts. Okay, are you ready? Before I tell you the events that happened, I'm going to rub this book here. This is Macbeth. It's a Shakespeare book that I had to read for my English college class. So let me rub this. Okay, so while I was walking, and all of a sudden I saw multiple masked men like come and charge after me. Like, I just happened to see them, like, out of nowhere. Like, these masked men spawned out of nowhere. I said spawn because I'd like to say that it just appeared in that dream. Like, as if in a game, there are enemies that spawn. So, like, in this dream, this enemy spawned. These masked men spawned in that area when I was walking, okay? So out of nowhere, these men came out of, and I forgot how many. I don't even know if there were 3 or 5, but there were, like, let's say, around 3 to 5. So, don't know if it was 3, okay? So let's assume 3 to 5, okay? So they were all running towards me all of a sudden. I don't know why, but to no avail. I happened to get tackled. So they were all running towards me, and my gut reaction was to run away from them at the opposite direction. So I have tried to evade and try to run away as fast to get away from them. But they were all after me. They were like running all the way, trying to chase me down. So I was really being chased. So like I was at flight mode. Like he had this flight or fight response, but I chose to flight because I don't want to fight against like multiple 3 to 5 people. So they were all running towards me, and I would be running away. So I was being chased down, okay? So, unfortunately, to no avail, I happened to get tackled to the pavement. They all caught up to me. So they caught up to me and they happened to grab me and tackle me down to the pavement. The thing is that I was not badly injured when I hit the pavement. I don't remember that, okay? And I realized at this point that they were going to kidnap me or of some sort, or like at least capture me and take me to somewhere. I don't know what their motive is, but I'll just assume that they're going to kidnap me. So this is a little pencil. It's very cute, and I used this to buy like a poster because at my college that I used to go to, they sometimes hold these poster sales, and that's where I had to fill up a form when I want to buy them. And I use this little red pencils. They have a lot of these red pencils where I have to fill in the title of the poster, the price, and fill out a form to tell which poster I want to buy. And this is where I ended up getting those posters, except for these ones. That's where I ordered online. It's a Left 4 Dead 2 poster, but most of them I got it at my college, okay? So, back to the dream, okay? So, they were going to kidnap me, and that's where I had this big reaction, kind of like an adrenaline rush to resist. I then tried to punch and struggle, wiggle my arms like a madman, like a bug that's trying to get away from predator. And I was like flaying my arms around, trying to get away. I tried to punch and struggle to try to fend off these masked men, okay? I don't know how long the struggle was. How long I tried to struggle, maybe from 30 seconds to like a minute. I don't know. So like me trying to struggle away. But I remember trying to get away vividly. I had a feeling that I had no chance to escape, so I was by myself, trapped at this pavement against 3 to 5 masked men. They were all wearing the same black hoodie or sweatshirt, so they're all dressed in black. So, yeah, it felt so real, like I was really in it. Like I was being overpowered by this man, but thing is that it's like I'm seeing it through my eyes. Like it feels like I am really in this dream. Like it happens in real life, as if it happened. Like it's like me being in a movie. And speaking of movies, I'm gonna give you like a 30-second break before I continue sharing my dream. It is not over yet. So, last Friday, I actually went to see Kung Fu Panda 4. It's a really nice movie. It was like just released on that day, and I happened to watch it. So, I'm not gonna give you any spoilers. So, it's a really nice action-based movie. So, it was really a good movie. So, now back to the chocolate bar. And I actually ate the chocolate. Not this one, but I actually ate a bar of chocolate in the movie. So during that movie, that Kung Fu Panda 4 movie that I had. Some tingles again, okay. So, back to the dream. So, the thing is that after being tackled in this pavement, I cannot remember anything that happened after being tackled. I don't remember if I was being dragged after being tackled, after being overpowered, but the thing is that the dream is not over yet. This nightmare is like far from over. So what happened next is that somehow, after I was being tackled at the pavement, I somehow ended up in this big van. Inside a big van. So I somehow ended up in a big van. An old, kind of an oldish van with beige seats. I don't know what color that van was, but it had beige seats. So I was inside of that van. And the best I can describe it is that it's like a movie switching scenes. So I don't know what would happen between the time that I would be tackled at the ground to being inside this van. So it's like for me being tackled at the sidewalk, all of a sudden to being trapped in this big van. Then I saw these 3 men again, 3 to 5 men. I ended up with the same man that abducted me, okay? That kidnapped me, so that's what I assume. And so that's where I guess they decide to take me into their van. And it was a moving van, so somebody is driving the van. Definitely one of these masked men that were trying to abduct me, okay? So, as I was in this van, moving, trapped inside, at this point, they were communicating upon each other. I ended up with the same man, and then they were starting to communicate. At that point, I remember hearing them speak, but I forgot what they exactly were saying. So like maybe something that they were trying to communicate with each other, okay? But I don't remember any single word that they said. And I forgot to mention that when they were tackling me earlier in that pavement, in the time span of that dream, they were not communicating at all. It's like as if they know exactly what they're doing without talking among each other during the plan, like as if they plan it out and try to get me. And when they do, they don't really like talk at all. They never talked when I was at the sidewalk, okay? But now in the van, they were talking, but like I said, I cannot remember what they really said, okay? But what I remember was that they were laughing at me, and then that's where I started to cry in my dream. It felt real because of the situation that I ended up on my dream, that my freedom is gone. That my freedom is over and I am kidnapped. And my body and in the dream, my life in that dream is now held in the hands of these men, okay? And I don't know what their motive is, so let's just say their motive was just to kidnap me for some reason, whatever, okay? So at one point, these men, one of the men, decide to stick up a pistol at me, like a gunpoint, okay? And that's when I had this flight or fight response again. And that's when I freaked out and I started to struggle again. I was really agitated and panicked. Like I was really stressed out, and I started punching again. I started hitting the walls of the van. And I was hitting my arms with my elbows trying to get out of the van. And these men were preventing me from getting out. I screamed and struggling and I started to cry, and I continued hitting the car seats, the beige car seats, and the windows and the door, which apparently was locked and I could not open it. I was hitting the walls so hard because I wanted to get out to escape the van and try to be free again. And then, boom, 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 bang, bang, bang. At that point, I woke up. It was still at night. I, all of a sudden just opened my eyes in real life and realized it was only a nightmare. One of the worst nightmares, scariest nightmares that I had. So it was at this point where I woke up and it was still in the middle of the night. Then I realized that my parents were calling me. My parents were calling me as if they heard something. I just realized that my parents were calling me because they heard some sort of banging on the walls of my room. Like I was hitting the walls. And then I was confused at one point, and then I realized that when I was dreaming myself hitting the car doors of the kidnappers, trying to escape from the abduction, I was actually hitting the wall and moving my body in the process in real life. I was actually hitting the wall and bed in my room in the process, right before I woke up. So that's super crazy. I was in this dream, and then I was hitting the walls of the van, which I realized I was hitting the room, moving my body in the process, seconds before I wake up. Then that's when I woke up, and then, yeah. And so, the time was almost 4 a.m. And that will be the end of this nightmare video. So this was truly a nightmare. One of the most frightening nightmares I've had. I have not had any nightmares this crazy as a grown-up until now. Most of the nightmares that I had was when it happened when I was young, but as a grown-up, I've only had very few nightmares up till now, and this was one of them, okay? So this will conclude tonight's video. I hope that you have gotten your tingles. Please drop a like if you have gotten your ASMR tingles. I make ASMR formatted videos for your tingles. It will be greatly, greatly appreciated. And so I make videos from coding and typing noises to spitting out facts of the planets and random series like creepypastas such as the Backrooms. So this ends the video, and I will see you next time.